Hello, YouTube. Doing a pretty quick stream today. I'm only going to stream about 20 minutes. Um, but today is April 25th, 2025, which means it's been 11 years since the reboot. Um, I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it. Well, what I did today, I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters today, which kind of kept my mind off of it. Um, I encourage everyone to do that as well. Go watch that. I think it's kind of ironic that the last Star Wars movie that's in continuity of the EU, they put out, they put that out on the day the reboot happened. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. But yeah, the reboot was 11 years ago. 2014 was when it happened. I don't really know what I can add that would make this need different. Um, or like, what can I say that would be different? Force Awakens on live orchestra. Well, you know what? That's better than the movie because you know what? The soundtrack to that movie is pretty good. I mean, it's John Williams. I mean, obviously it's good. So you know what? That's I guess the movie's better. Yes, Revenge of the Sith is better, but that's weird. But I know it was only like 2,000 theaters. I think. I don't know, but and obviously it was for America because I guess Star Wars fans only live in America. I don't know, but that's interesting, Fabian. But yeah, so I saw that today. That was fun. It's always good to see that movie again. It's one of the best, obviously one of the best Star Wars movies. It's great. But it's weird because I read Plagueis a few months ago. So as I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking of that book. I'm thinking of what the events of that book, and knowing what happened behind the scenes with Padme being queen and all that stuff. The plan that Palpatine had put in motion with Plagueis. I mean, it was really cool. It's really cool to watch that movie knowing what happens in Plagueis. It was a dark day for me 11 years ago when it happened. I left Star Wars a few months back to it. Yeah, a lot of people did. You're not the only one. A lot of people did. But the way I see it, I mean, this is like we should make today like EU Day. Like April 25th is EU Day. I think that would be kind of cool. Because, I don't like to mourn the EU. I mean, well, first of all, I think it's weird to mourn stories. I don't think mourning is the most appropriate word, but we shouldn't mourn. We shouldn't be upset over it. I mean, we should be, I guess we should be upset, but like we shouldn't, just mope over it. I think we should continue to celebrate the EU, and that's what I want to promote here on my channel is just promoting the EU and love for the EU and the characters and most importantly, the fans of the EU. So, yeah, fair enough. Matt kind of brought a lot of us together. He's a great dude, even though people hate him now because of who he hangs out with. But different topic. But yeah, 11 years. It's crazy. I know it's crazy. It's been 11 years, but it is what it is. Hopefully we didn't really get any EU news or celebration. I mean, the closest we got was I'm still confused because like I don't really know what the point of that Darth Malgus trailer was. Like, are we having is going to be a new expansion focused on Malgus? I mean, what's going on? I was really confused. So it just looked like a compilation of just Malgus clips, and I mean, I don't know. I don't think Malgus. I mean, I like Malgus as a character. He's interesting, but I don't. I wish he was still dead. I wish SWTOR would come up with a new villain. But to be honest with you, if you want my opinion, I think Disney doesn't want them to. Fair enough. Whoops. Fair enough, Jared. But man, 11 years. Now, what I'm gonna recommend everyone, last year, Brennan put together a wonderful video. Um, Let me go on his channel here, find the video. Yeah, he called it "In Celebration of the Star Wars Expanded Universe 10 years later." And basically, he got together a bunch of fans. I'll put it in the chat. And he asked them, what does the E mean to the U? And it's a 6-hour long video of nothing but EU fans talking about their favorite characters, their favorite stories when they got into the EU. Um, I did a video. I know my buddy Drake did one. Obviously, Matt and Chris are in it. Uh, a bunch of people did. Alex obviously did one, and it was really cool. It was a really neat idea. I remember him telling me about that. He had that in the plans like a year earlier. He told me about that. I remember, and I remember thinking, man, it was such a wonderful idea, and I'm so glad it came into fruition. I'm so glad it ended up being made. It's a great, great video. It's a great video. So give that a watch if you haven't. I think that's a video I think every year we can turn to and remember that even though the EU is not being continued, we're still celebrating it, even 11 years after everything happened, after the reboot, we're still here celebrating it and talking about it. So, and that's the most important thing. Because you know what? Ultimately, if continuation doesn't happen, which I don't want to get into that topic, but if continuation doesn't happen, you know what? We're still here. We're going to be here no matter what. And I love that. I love that we can still be here as fans and still continue talking about this. So, because it's great stuff. This is the EU is amazing. It's what kept Star Wars alive for so long, and it's what made so many people a fan. So it's still very much relevant because Disney can't help but cherry pick from it. So it's still relevant. So, but yeah, 11 years, man. So for the people watching, what book did you start out with? What was your first EU book? For me, it was Heir to the Empire. Heir to the Empire in 2019 is when I started. I remember well, I guess I could kind of get into my EU origin if no one's heard it before. But the way I got into the EU was, I mean, I've always been a Star Wars fan ever since I was young, and a little kid. I loved the movies growing up, still do. Um, but in around Last Jedi time, shortly after Last Jedi came out, um, I I would not have my Instagram account then, but I was on Instagram and I followed all the Star Wars pages, and of course I watched Star Wars lore videos on YouTube. And that's how I actually first got exposed to the expanded universe, to the Yuuzhan Vong. I learned that there was this, because for a while I didn't even realize there was two continuities, and then I think it was on the Lore Masters channel. I think that's his name. He did great lore videos back then. I think he still does. But he had put like this disclaimer on his video, on all his videos. This information comes from canon. This information comes from the EU. And I'm like, what was the difference? And then I ended up finding out what the difference was and what happened. Years later, you know, because I'd always been fascinated by the Vong. I think the Vong were such a unique concept. I still feel that way. They're such a unique concept, and they're the most unique Star Wars villains ever. Um, and I ended up coming across this post about the Vong, and I said, you know what? I want to read these books. I want to read the books that they were in. So I went to the comment section of that Instagram post, and I actually asked someone hey, what was the first book after Jedi? And they said Truce of Bakura. So I went up to the half price books. I bought Truce of Bakura and the first three NJO books. I wasn't going to read those NJO books yet, but I wanted to, of course, I wanted to read all the stories in between Jedi and NJO. So I read I started Truce of Bakura. I think I got 70 pages into it. Did I get that? I don't remember how long. It wasn't very far into it, but I put it down because I wasn't getting into it. And a lot of it had to do with I had not read a book in forever. I was not because it. I don't want to say it takes practice, but I mean, if you haven't read a book in forever, then all of a sudden you pick up a big old chapter book. To me, that was a big chapter book. Now it's not, but it's going to be a little difficult for you to read, even if you're interested in the characters like I was. So I ended up putting it down. And then I saw someone recommend, well, you should try Heir of the Empire. That's where you should have started with anyway, someone said. And I did. I picked up Heir of the Empire and I was at my dad's place where he lived. And actually, I was bored, we weren't doing anything that day. And I picked it up. I started reading it and I was actually really interested in it. I was really enjoying it. I think I will always remember the first chapter of that book better than any other book because I mean the first chapter of that novel is just wonderful. Um anyway, picked that up, read it, loved it. I would read it. I would read Heir of the Empire. At that time I was freshman in high school, which is crazy by the way, because now I'm almost a junior in college now. It's insane. Well, I was a freshman in high school at the time and I was in athletics and we would have a study hall period like 30 minutes a day in study hall. And instead of studying, I was reading Heir to the Empire. I was not studying at all. I should have been studying. Anyway, I would read that. I read the Thrawn trilogy, loved it, and then I read the Jedi Academy trilogy, loved it. Um, and then I actually went back and then I finished Truce of Bakura, went back and read that. Then I read Courtship. I didn't want to read X-Wing. I'm like, I don't care about X-Wing. Luke and Han and Leia aren't, and I don't want to read it. Turns out I know I was wrong because I've now read a lot of other books that are connected to it, like I Jedi and the Dark Tide duology, and now I've read that. Eventually, I will. I still have not read those yet, but eventually I will. Um, obviously, I own them all. So, but yeah, that's how I got into the expanded universe. So now let's actually read these comments. So my first book was Heir of the Empire. Luke Skywalker, Shadows of Mendor, and Kenobi. Nice. Last of the Jedi or Young Jedi Knights. Awesome. Outbound Flight. Awesome. That's a great book. I love the joke that Jin Sarai made about the Last Jedi novel. His author Scott Katarn joke. I've not watched his videos, so I don't really understand what you're referring to, but I know he made some good lore videos too back in the day. I don't. Does he still upload now? I don't think he does. Jin Sarai, Jin Sarai one or Jin Sarai one, whatever. Which is weird that he doesn't upload anymore. He did a video, two videos a year ago. But I think what I don't really care about it's not that I don't care about his content. I just one of the reasons why I don't watch his videos is there are a lot of versus videos, and I mean it's fun to theorize about who would win in a fight, but it's just not for me. And I'm not gonna spend like 10, 15 minutes trying to figure out who or watch a video on who would win. I don't know. It's not my thing. But he did a lot of other lore videos. I know he did. And a lot of people love him. So anyway. I'm gonna continue streaming for another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and head off because I gotta go to work. I kind of wanted to do this little quick stream here. But yeah, that was my first book. The last book I read, well, I'm currently reading Attack of the Clones. The last book before that I actually finished was Approaching Storm by Alan Dean Foster, which if you want to know my thoughts on that book, check out my channel. I'm doing a series with Titus and Ken where we're reviewing the entire Clone Wars, minus a few things. So most of the EU Clone Wars, with the exception of TCW, because we don't. There's two reasons why we're not doing TCW. One, we don't got time for it. Two, for me at least, it would piss me off to like read Coruscant Nights and then go back and watch the Citadel arc from TCW. Well, actually, we're not reading Coruscant Nights. We're not reading Coruscant Nights in that series anyway. Like, what are the like the Mandalorian contradictions or Maul or the Night Sister contradictions or things like that? It would be really irritating to like read a Clone Wars book or comic and then go back and watch a show that completely just craps all over that in terms of continuity. So we're not doing that. But we will watch the micro series. We're gonna watch that, even though we're gonna make Titus and I we're gonna make us some pretty good. There, look, the micro series is great, but it doesn't fit as perfect in the EU as people think it does. I mean, there are problems with it. Biggest examples, of course, the volume two, the contradiction with Labyrinth of Evil and Clone Wars Volume 2, but again, we'll get into that in the reviews. But so yeah, we're doing that right now, and I know Attack of the Clones should have been out by now. We probably should have already. Hell, we should probably be on Republic Commando at this point. But Titus, Kid, and myself, we just. I mean, it's finals time for me and Titus, so we've been focusing on that, and then Ken is starting a new job, so he's been focusing on that. Um, so yeah, but we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Don't worry. Once school is over, me and Titus and Ken settles in, we'll be knocking those out like hotcakes. One thing I didn't know about in the micro series was Crook being in it and surviving group. Yeah, I didn't know that either for a while. I thought that was just a random whiphead Jedi in the Clone Wars. I didn't know that was actually supposed to be Crook. So, and the reason why I did not connect it to being Crook is because Crook dies in that. That whiphead Jedi is supposed to die in that, but obviously came back. So, yeah, I didn't know it was either. I just thought it was a whiphead Jedi. So, but yeah, that's Crook. Anyway, I'm excited for voting on. Vote on. Vote on. But I guess I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Yeah. So those are my thoughts on the 11 years that it's been since the E was rebooted. Sad, yes. Is it the end? No. There's still lots to look forward to as an E fan, and you know, I know a lot of people don't like Legends Expo. I don't like them either, but I don't have a problem if anyone goes to that and promotes it. I'm not going to promote it, um, because I don't care, and I'm also not going either. It's too far. It's too far for me. Um, I know Lucino's going, so if you want to go meet Lucino, I mean, go ahead. That's going to be one of the last opportunities I think for people to actually meet him because I know he's getting older and he doesn't do a lot of conventions anymore. But he's going to that one, um, which I think is really cool. They actually got him to go. Um, I think Sean Stewart's going. Barbara Hambley's going. Abel G. Pena will be there if you want to meet him too. I would go. I would love to meet Abel G. Pena. I love a lot of his work that he's done over the years, like in regards to continuity, because he made a lot of connections between different things. He answered a lot of questions like Boba Fett's backstory. He helps, you know, put that back together after Attack of the Clones came out. Um, but anyway, that's all I've got. So thank y'all very much for watching. Long live the expanded universe. May the force be with y'all.